Sometimes people ask me, Kevin, what's it like being a neuroscientist? And I'll sit and think about it. And then I usually say, well, a lot of the time it's actually pretty boring. You spend a lot of time collecting data, you analyze the data, you write manuscripts, apply for grants, and there's a lot of frustration and a general feeling of uh, marching 3 steps forward and 2 back in any of the endeavors that you undertake under a scientific paradigm. But sometimes you get to do fun things, and I enjoy doing experiments and the bits that I can control of the scientific process. And today we're going to do something a little fun, or a little bit of fun for me, because I've been sort of watching this this fight evolve over the course of a few years, as this individual on the screen, Mr. Owen Benjamin, has pulled himself out of a fairly well-respected stand-up career in Hollywood, and retreated to the hills of Washington State, in the process decrying the culture of Hollywood. And I will just add that the culture that he was decrying was the fact that none of his peers or people that he respected had the cojones to stand up and say that giving young children as young as 5, hormones designed to block adolescence development, and children whose parents would identify them as trans. He sort of stood up and got into rows on Twitter, and I would back him 100% on his particular viewpoint there. But in his as he sort of fell from grace from Hollywood because he wouldn't toe that politically correct line, he has retreated to the green pastures of Washington, as I said, and he's basically glommed onto any sort of conspiracy theory to try and maintain an audience and some clout with respect to sort of gaining I guess an income and some degree of influence within a sizable audience. And he does have a sizable internet presence, and that's why what I want to speak to today. And what we're going to watch today is basically Owen Benjamin claim that the coronavirus is not real. It's just a fear campaign devised by the powers that be, in particular a group called the Grabblers, and we'll get into that a little bit as we break down what he's saying. And I don't want to spend too long on this because, like I said, this is an ongoing long battle, and I'm wary of treading into it, but right now I feel I have to, because love him or hate him, in my opinion, Owen Benjamin has become a biohazard, and that needs addressing. So we're going to look at his sort of musings on why it's not real and why he thinks that and what it is. Okay, so without further ado, let's begin. So please, Owen, if you may.
Whether or not there really is a horrific virus and Wuhan shut down and the rest of the world is now avoiding it by the skin of their teeth, or it's a collapse hidden as this, or it, dude, you don't know, and your thinking and worrying doesn't change anything. And once you see that, you have to authentically feel it.
So, dude, once you understand what Owen Benjamin does and you can authentically feel it, dude, you will have his wisdom, you will rise above the current global panic, and you will see that you are being taken for a mark by the Grabblers. And like I say, we'll get to the Grabblers.
You can't make yourself, you can't force it. I was making it in my mind.
He's making it in his mind.
And then it was just like birds started chirping. Legitimately, it was just like...
In his mind, excuse me, birds started chirping as he came to the realization about what Wuhan, China flu is, and that realization was accompanied by the sounds of songbirds. So, like I say, it gets more bizarre as we progress through the stream. So please, Owen, carry on.
I'm getting texts now. Check this out. A famous comedian texted me today. This is our conversation back and forth. I'm guessing social distancing hasn't been an issue for you. Hope you're well. I wrote, yeah, being able to see 2 years in the future because of an overactive pineal gland has its perks. He wrote,
okay, so let's just break that down a little. There was a lot to sort of take in there, and my dear viewer, you may have missed some of the more pertinent points. So, Owen will often sort of allude to the fact that he still knows influential people in Hollywood because of his stand-up career, and people still contact him, and that's how he's sort of beginning this bit of spiel. And so he wants to hammer home that the Hollywood types want to talk to him, and now that he's isolated himself in Washington State, they're somewhat jealous, and he's going to engage in Schadenfreude at their desperation as they realize he was the one that was the pioneer with respect to escaping these terrible systems that are controlled by the grabblers. Oh, and I nearly forgot the most important bit. Owen has been clearing his pineal gland of residual calcification that's arisen from fluoride in the water, and I kid you not, pornography. And yes, you did hear that correct. So his pineal gland, which is a small organ in the human brain that's, you can trace it in the phylogenetic tree, and you can find it as they call it a sort of third eye in reptilians. And, there's a very sort of well sketched out evolutionary pathway for the use of the pineal gland and what it does and its role in the endocrine system. So he has a clear pineal gland, and I will just add this at this point because it is a sort of funny anecdote in this story. Owen cleared his pineal gland by abstaining from toxins in the environment, and so basically eliminating sugar, refined foods, eating healthy. And actually, you can't disagree with that. But as a final coup de grace to the toxins, Owen went through a process of treating what he defined as grabbler parasites in his gut by drinking turpentine. And yes, you heard that correct. I am talking about the paint solvent, turpentine. And he will say that, it was used in the past, but then so was all manner of snake oils and other therapies that perhaps wouldn't pass muster with respect to modern scientific and medical investigation. So, having cleared his gay-inducing parasites from his body with turpentine, he believes that he's now opened his pineal gland, and with this opening of this pineal gland, he now has precognizance to where he can see 2 years into the future. That's literally what he was talking about just there, and you can go check the Clips channels and see that I'm not lying to you, dear listener, when I do say this. And like I say, hat tip to all those Clips channels, Evil Powders, who I'm taking this clip from. There's plenty out there. Do watch them. All hilarious, and I highly recommend them. But let's listen more to what Owen has to say.
He wrote, no idea what that is, but sounds useful. Haha. I wrote, it's the part of your brain responsible for intuition that gets calcified by fluoride in porn.
Okay, so as I said, he does mention the the fluoride and porn, but it's the part of the brain that's involved in intuition. Now, I did a quick search on PubMed. That's what us researchers do. We like to check the veracity of someone's work by just checking their publication record. And I couldn't find one publication in any of the scientific literature at all from one Professor Dr. Owen Benjamin from Gig Harbor, Washington. So I'll take his assertions with what the pineal gland does with a pinch of salt for the moment, and I would probably encourage the listener to do the same. But I'm disturbing the flow, and we should let the man speak, because perhaps he does have something important to say.
Don't worry, you'll know in 2 years. Because look at these people, right? So here is...
Yeah, he's going to go on a little rant about his comedy peers who he says are not funny, and they have massive resources behind them, and right now they're being thrown into an environment which he voluntarily undertook, and in his suffrage they're now just beginning to tread that weary path, that long and weary path to the enlightenment that only an open pineal gland can give. And they're all going to find out that the retreat and glom onto the prevailing conspiracy theory is the business model for the future. Oh, and of course have a sketchy website that promises a lot and delivers nothing. Well, minimal. Not what it initially promised. So let me just skip ahead a little bit and let's have a
mad
listen.
Love to God for this.
That's
interesting. I'd be damned if I don't enjoy the hell out of it and give mad love to God for this.
God for the Schadenfreude.
The only thing we can do is have a great time and crush. And then you realize the grapple doesn't even matter. In fact, it's freeing a lot of people.
So here we're going to get into Owen Benjamin's theorems to the Grabbler, and I'll just let him explain. Let me just sort of quickly interject that the Grabbler is a subspecies of human beings, primarily Jewish people, but anyone can be a Grabbler, so he's not accused of anti-Semitism. And Grabblers are those people that hang around in the back rooms, the deep state, and the military-industrial science complex that's working hand in hand with Satan himself to bring humanity crashing down and away from the promise of redemption with the good Lord himself and all his prophets, peace be upon them all. So let's carry on.
It's almost like there's a little grabbler trying to play hard to get and being like, oh, I'm not going to give you your loans and all your poisonous food and all your escapes like the NBA and old Jimmy Kimmel and all that. Beg for me.
You have to give the devil his due in this respect, and I would perhaps agree with Owen Benjamin that all those things having been removed from people's lives is potentially a good thing, and some sort of pulling away from the screens and looking into your environment to try to understand what's going on. Yeah, why not? I'll give him that. So, Dr. Benjamin, please proceed.
And you're like, dude, it's way better without you guys.
Yeah, potentially.
And the fact that I don't have to think because one of the things, this was something that happened to me last night. I was making fun of the Q plan and all that, and it dawned on me, it's like, I could be right and wrong simultaneously. How's that for trippy?
Trippy indeed, and I would just add that type of ambiguity and sort of logic problem you would encounter in high school, Owen, and I don't see the huge insight that you're bringing by admitting that you could be both right and wrong. And I would just emphasize you're wrong right now. COVID is a real thing.
Where it's like, I could be right that there is no virus, but I'm wrong because I don't know. It's the same thing that a lot of flat earthers run into when they...
Yes, of course. Owen is a ardent flat earther, as he's attempted to garner a stable audience. And like I said, he sort of hops from truth community to truth community, and with it sort of picking up fans and losing fans along the way for his particular business model. Now, there's not really much more I want to add. Let's let the man continue speaking. I'm interrupting his flow, and I would be annoyed if he were to do the same to me. So.
Say the Earth is flat.
Earth is flat.
You can be right and wrong simultaneously, because I can't prove that there is no virus.
And there is the power of his logic. In his mind, the fact that he can't prove that there is a virus is enough for him to just say, well, there is nothing at all, and it's better to live in bliss and crush in bliss because you can't prove it. And it's an absolutely insane position to take, and especially an insane position to take when, as I've tried to point out on this channel, there's an element to COVID that people need to really grasp, and that's this ability to hijack the central nervous system. And you can please visit the playlists that are on my channel. Try to get a handle on what this virus can do. It's really it's much misunderstood information. It's not very well known, and I'm trying my best to sort of get this out, but I'm literally sort of facing a wall of nonsense from people like Owen Benjamin that just makes it essentially impossible to wake people from their waking dream, even if the NBA and the hockey and football and whatever other distraction you usually get involved with has gone away. But I'm digressing. Let's carry on. You can't see them, so therefore you can't prove them, ergo they're not real.
What if there is? By design, I'm not allowed to prove that I can't prove there's no virus. And people are like, oh yeah, I know someone who got it. Yeah, the coronavirus is on the back of Lysol. It's
And here we get to the point after nearly 17 minutes, the point that I wanted to get to in this video, and I've spent 17 minutes longer than I wanted to in addressing this, that coronavirus was listed on the back of Lysol, apparently, and Owen will turn around and say Lysol is a grabbler company, and they can't be trusted, and all this is an elaborate ruse for the next marketing scheme of this company, and they're grabbling of you, dear viewer, and any other unsuspecting victim that may fall into their clutches when they're looking for disinfecting products.
It's the response. What my opinion is, it's an immune response.
His opinion that it's an immune response to
the common cold. That's
the
what
common cold. Oh, so all we're dealing with is the common cold. It's just a flu, bro. Well, you know, a 10% morbidity rate in closed cases is something that I would say pay attention to. And I would say pay attention to the neural aspect of it, which I keep trying to address. And I hope, at least if I can grab one person from the hypnosis that he's inducing on people to actually look at some of the science and understand some of the risks, that's a win in my column. And I'm beginning to do an Owen Benjamin with respect to ranting. I want to try and get this finished. It's already too long.
It's always been. It's an existing thing. That's why they changed it to COVID. I don't know why they changed it to COVID-19, but I'm guessing it was to rebrand away from what was on Lysol bottles.
Okay, that's enough for me right now. I'll just finish it there. There you have his superb insight to the global COVID pandemic that's wreaking havoc across the globe, inducing inordinate amount of pain to individuals, families, countries, economies, and is a once in a century event, and it's all just for rebranding on Lysol. What I would say to you, dear listener, is the audience in general, please check the work with respect to how COVID attacks the nervous system, how it can hijack areas involved in impulse control or areas regulating your breathing. Don't listen to someone like Owen Benjamin when there are these literal things, literal elements at play. And the only way I could sort of emphasize how dangerous it is that agents that attack the nervous system, and a really common one that people understand is rabies, and these are called neurotropic agents because they will target, infect the nervous system and grow within the nervous system. And in the case of rabies, we all know that what you do with a rabid dog and what a rabid dog is like. And right now there's no, I mean, potentially it's not a rabies, but the fact that it does hijack the central nervous system, as I keep saying, and if you watch my videos, you can see that there is behavior that I predicted from the targets that the virus can hit. And with that, again, I've spent, this is 20 minutes, again, way too long that I wanted to spend on this. Please don't listen to Owen Benjamin. Get right with the science. Maybe get right with God as well. I'm not going to argue against that. And with that, I'll say adieu and hopefully see you in the next stream. Thank you.